Two oceans, one impossible ditch, and 25,600 lives lost to build it.
I'm standing at the edge of the greatest engineering miracle humanity ever dared attempt.
50 miles of land separated two oceans for millions of years, until humans said no. In 1513, Balboa saw both oceans separated by just 50 miles of jungle and dreamed. King Charles I of Spain ordered the first survey of Panama for a canal in 1524. Without a canal, every ship faced 13,000 miles around Cape Horn and possible death. The 1848 California gold rush made a Panama crossing a matter of urgent national need. To meet the demand, the Panama Railroad was built 1850 to 1855 at a cost of 12,000 lives.
This railroad proved the route's superlates and planted the seed for the canal right beside it.
Ferdinand de Lesseps finished the Suez Canal in 1869 and became France's greatest hero. In 1879, de Lesseps hosted 136 delegates from 26 nations to plan the Panama Canal. A French engineer proposed the correct lock design in 1879. De Lesseps ignored him entirely. De Lesseps was convinced: dig a sea-level canal like Suez. This decision would doom France. De Lesseps raised $400 million from ordinary French citizens who trusted him completely. On January 1st, 1880, France celebrated its canal groundbreaking with champagne in the jungle. French construction officially began on January 20th, 1882, and the jungle fought back immediately. Yellow fever and malaria killed French workers faster than any shovel could dig progress. The Chagres River swelled 80 feet in rainy season, destroying months of French excavation overnight. By 1885, French workers were dying at the rate of 200 per month from tropical disease. In 1887, a desperate de Lesseps secretly hired Gustave Eiffel to design emergency canal locks. The Panama scandal of 1892 destroyed de Lesseps. Convicted of fraud, he died in disgrace. A new French company kept the half-finished canal alive from 1894, waiting for a buyer. Bunau Varilla sent 90 senators a Nicaraguan stamp showing a volcano and swung the vote. The US Navy backed Panama's revolution on November 3, 1093, a republic born in one day. The 1903 treaty gave the US a 10-mile-wide canal zone for $10 million. Panama had no choice. On May 4, 1904, the United States officially broke ground on the Panama Canal once again. The first US chief engineer, John Wallace, arrived in July 1904 and quit within 1 year.
This place in 1904 was a graveyard with shovels of ice. The Americans inherited absolute chaos here.
A 1905 yellow fever outbreak nearly ended the American project before it even properly started. Dr. William Gorgas arrived in 1904 with one radical idea: kill every mosquito in Panama. Gorgas spent $90,000 on copper screening and fumigated 1,200 houses in Panama City alone. November 11th, 1905, the last yellow fever death in Panama City, Gorgas had won the war. Railroad genius John Stevens arrived July 1905 and immediately halted all digging, shocking everyone. Stevens ordered 102 state-of-the-art railroad-mounted steam shovels, the most powerful on Earth. Stevens rebuilt the entire Panama Railroad first. Without it, no dirt could ever leave the canal. Roosevelt visited Panama in November 1906, the first US president to travel abroad while in office. Roosevelt gripped a 95-ton Bucyrus steam shovel, and the world's press went absolutely wild. Stevens testified in Washington that the sea-level plan was madness, and the Senate listened. The final design: flood the jungle, create Gatun Lake at 85 feet, use locks as ship elevators. Stevens resigned in early 1907, taking his reasons to the grave. The canal barely started. Roosevelt replaced Stevens with Colonel Goethals in 1907, a military man who would never quit. Goethals traveled the canal daily in his yellow Peril railroad car, seeing everything himself. By 1907, over 75% of the 45,000 workers were West Indian, mostly Barbadian men, risking everything. The canal had apartheid before the word existed: white gold roll and black silver roll workers. At peak construction, a train loaded with excavated rock left Culebra Cut every single minute. 3 divisions, Atlantic, Central, Pacific, all building simultaneously across the full 50 miles. 9 miles of solid mountain stood between Gatun Lake and the Pacific, and it had to go. Engineers had to lower the Continental Divide from 312 feet to just 40 feet above sea level. Inside the cut, temperatures hit 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and the walls on both sides amplified every machine noise. Over 300 drills bored into rock simultaneously, setting charges that would consume 60 million pounds of dynamite. 60 million pounds of dynamite were detonated in Culebra Cut, more than the first atomic bomb. On October 4, 1907, the Cucaracha landslide dumped 400,000 cubic yards of mud back in overnight. Major Gaillard called the slides tropical glaciers of mud, unstoppable, relentless, and terrifying. Clay so soft steam shovels couldn't bite it. Workers used high-pressure hoses to flush mud away. Landslides struck without warning, burying equipment and slow-footed workers alive in the cut. Gaillard led the cut for 7 years with quiet brilliance, then died of a brain tumor in December 1913. May 20th, 1913. Steam shovels from both ends of Culebra Cut finally met. The mountain was conquered. 240 million cubic yards excavated, enough dirt to fill 17 million dump trucks or encircle the earth 4 times. When water finally flooded the cut in October 1913, the canal route was complete end to end. To create Gatun Lake, 164 square miles of jungle had to be completely cleared and flooded forever. Gatun Dam was 1.5 miles long and became the largest earthen dam in the entire world at the time. The Chagres River flooded 14 times before engineers finally tamed it with the Gatun Dam in 1910. June 1913. Gatun Dam's spillway closed, and the world's largest man-made lake began rising. Gatun Lake eventually flooded 164 square miles, submerging entire towns that had to be evacuated.
Entire communities vanished beneath Gatun Lake, their roads and rooftops swallowed by the canal.
In 1912, the Panama Railroad was fully relocated above the rising Gatun Lake waterline. Beneath Gatun Lake today, the ghostly remains of entire jungle villages still sit on the bottom. Gatun Lake is so vast that ships travel 23 miles across open water as part of the canal crossing. The genius used gravity and water weight alone to lift 50,000-ton ships 85 feet in the air. August 24, 1909. The first concrete was poured at Gatun, and a $40 million structure began rising. Each lock chamber was 1,000 feet long and 110 feet wide. No concrete structure like it existed. Engineers built 85-foot cable towers across the locks to pour concrete with unmatched precision. The lock floors are 20 feet thick and the walls up to 50 feet, built to withstand any force. Over 2 million cubic yards of concrete were poured to build just the Gatun locks alone. The hollow steel lock gates were engineered to float, each one a buoyant, movable wall of steel. Each lock gate weighs 730 tons. Yet the buoyancy design means a 40-horsepower motor swings it open. No pumps, ever. Water fills every lock chamber through gravity alone, using Gatun Lake as the source. All 46 lock gates were designed to be controlled remotely from a single building by one operator. At Pedro Miguel and Miraflores, workers poured concrete manually. No cable system, only muscle power. Miraflores needed 2 lock steps to handle the extreme 54-foot Pacific tidal variation safely. Workers balanced on 80-foot lock walls with no safety nets. A misstep meant certain death below. Thomas Edison personally wrote to Panama's chief engineer in 1908 with electrical design advice. The gates are angled into a V. The heavier the water pressure, the tighter they seal. Brilliant physics. September 26, 1913. The tug Gatun made the first ever test lockage. Every engineer watching in silence. The locks worked perfectly on the very first test. Tears were reportedly seen on engineers' faces. Electric towing locomotives called mules were installed to guide ships through locks safely. On October 10, 1913, President Wilson detonated the Gamboa Dike by telegraph from the White House. When the Gamboa Dike blew, 2 oceans worth of water systems merged for the very first time. By December 1913, the entire 51-mile route was navigable, yet the world was still not officially told. January 7, 1914, the French crane boat Alexandre Lavallee became the first ship to cross Panama silently. August 15, 1914. SS Ancon made the first official transit. The age of the Panama Canal had begun.
25,600 people died building the Panama Canal, more than half the population of a small city. Of 5,600 American-era deaths, most were black workers paid a fraction of white worker wages. Gold roll workers earned $1.25 an hour. Silver roll workers, doing the same job, earned just 10 cents. Dynamite workers were considered the most expendable. Many left belongings with friends before each shift. Despite brutal conditions, West Indian workers built a thriving community: churches, clubs, newspapers. Stevens built 50 mess kitchens in 1906 after malnutrition swept through the West Indian labor camps. Gorgas teams treated 100 square miles of standing water to eliminate the Anopheles mosquito completely. Gorgas reduced malaria deaths by 98% in 4 years, the greatest public health achievement of the era. In 9 years, landslides added 30 million extra cubic yards to the excavation total. Pure human misery. The racial pay gap at Panama was a precursor to Jim Crow, documented, deliberate, systemic. Workers sent every spare coin home to Barbados. Many never returned. Their families waited years. The canal opened on August 15, 1914, but WWI began the same week, silencing the celebration. At 4 p.m. on August 15, 1914, SS Ancon reached the Pacific, and the world changed permanently. By 1920, the canal was handling thousands of ships a year, already indispensable to world trade. The Madden Dam was built in 1935 to create Lake Alajuela, solving the canal's water shortage crisis. During World War II, the Panama Canal was so vital that the US military declared it a national security asset. In 1939, the US began building wider locks for battleships, then cancelled the project after the war. For decades, Panamanians protested American control, their canal on their land, yet not theirs. The 1977 Torrijos-Carter treaties sealed the deal. Panama would control its own canal by 1999. At midnight, December 31, 1999, Panama took full control. The American era of the canal ended. The Panama Canal Authority has operated the canal without incident since January 1, 2000. In September 2010, the canal recorded its 1 millionth ship transit, a century of unstoppable commerce. In September 2007, Panama began the $5.25 billion canal expansion, adding a brand new third lane. The new Neo-Panamax locks are 180 feet wide, 70 feet wider than the original 1914 lock chambers. The new locks include water recycling basins, saving 60% of fresh water per lockage. 1914 never had that. June 26, 2016, the expanded canal opened, Neo-Panamax ships 3 times larger than Panamax could now cross. The Panama Canal now runs 3 lanes, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, never once closing permanently. 5% of all world trade transits the Panama Canal, worth over $270 billion in cargo every single year. In 1994, the American Society of Civil Engineers declared it one of the 7 modern wonders of the world. The Canal America built in 1907 was identical to the Plan de Lesseps rejected in 1879.
10 years, 25,600 lives, 240 million cubic yards of earth mount, and a ditch that rewired the entire world.
The scars on these rock walls are a monument, carved by the hands of 45,000 forgotten men. You just watched the most expensive, deadly, and brilliant construction project in all of human history.
Which country or mega project do I deconstruct next? Give me your best challenge below. Oh, and subscribe now.